We've got Qazim Karim with us this month. He is currently heading up HeritageSG, and so he looks after Heritage Fest, which some of you may have checked out events for over the last few weeks, as well as Night Festival. And he really believes in connecting people through stories, through festival, through places. And obviously at HeritageSG, which is an arm under the National Heritage Board, it's all about revival, isn't it? It's all about bringing things back, keeping history alive, keeping heritage alive. And so we're really excited to have him share a little bit more this month. Speaking of revival, Qazim actually got off a flight at 5 a.m. this morning. And so thank you so much for being here with us. We hope you're feeling a little bit revived with coffee. And I will, without further ado, pass the mic to him. Big round of applause.
Thank you so much, Gwen, for the great intro. Yes, hi everyone, good morning. My name is Qazim. So, as she shared, I'm the Head of Festivals and Precinct Development at HeritageSG, which is basically a subsidiary of the National Heritage Board, a government organization. So, yes, my work actually brings me to places, literally, because I was just at Osaka yesterday at like a 10:45 flight, and I just arrived this morning at 4:30. So, yeah, glad I'm alive and very revived. So I think today's topic on revival is very interesting because I was trying to see how exactly can I present this topic through the work that I do at HeritageSG, through my festivals and through the placemaking that we do of the Brass Basar Bugis Precinct. So I chose this photo as a start because I think it's really a very interesting way to kind of provide a snapshot of the work I do, bringing together heritage through lion dance and bringing communities together, while at the same time at a place that's very vibrant, which is Gardens by the Bay. So this is actually taken just a few weeks back, where we had the Singapore Heritage Fest. So a bit more about myself before I even share a bit more regarding how we can look at revival through festivals and placemaking. So these 4 photos kind of encapsulate what I am, who I am, and what I do. So the first one, the top left, I'm actually a part-time lecturer at LaSalle College of the Arts in the BA Arts Management program. So I actually am part of the module on industry and community engagement, basically preparing students for internship and bringing them out into the real world as arts managers. So I really love that because it kind of ties also to the work I do at HeritageSG, basically sharing people's stories about heritage. And at the same time, they are kind of a source for me to provide jobs for them at my organization, because we are always looking for temporary staff and all that, and I think it's a great entry point for them into the arts sector. So I have a team of 10, and we look at 2 different things: the Singapore Heritage Fest, the Singapore Night Festival, and also placemaking of the Brass Basar Bugis Precinct. And under HeritageSG, we also look at different things like the Children's Museum, reflections of Bukit Chandu Museum, such as that as well. And on the bottom left is just something I found quite funny. So actually, in my free time, I do make content just for the fun of it. And some of it went viral for the wrong reasons, like one, where I realized that drinking this Thai milk roasty actually gives you diarrhea. Yeah. Random fun fact, and somehow the media picked it up and just covered that. So yeah, at the same time, I guess all of this kind of makes me who I am. I think I just like sharing stories. I just like bringing people together, whether it's through digital platforms or through just a community engagement. So when the topic of revival came to me, I was like, how exactly do I present? For me, revival, is it just about awakening something new? Is it about memories, bringing the past to the present, or bringing presenting memories in different way? Is it about revival of traditions or old practices that have died out, or do they have to die out for us to revive it? Or is it another way for us to look into re-energizing things? So for me, I tried to encapsulate this and also used a bit of help from ChatGPT to see how I can better encapsulate this into 3 R's, not reduce, reuse, recycle, but recreate, reimagine, and also rejuvenate. So for me, revival is all about these 3 key points. The first part is about recreating experiences. So the first event that I do, like what I shared, is the Singapore Heritage Fest, the largest and longest running heritage festival. So this year we are 22 years old. It's actually a month-long festival for the whole month of May, happened from 1st to 25th of May. And it's an island-wide festival where we present different thematic focus each year. So for the festival, I think how we try to keep it refreshed is really about bringing different types of experiences. When people think of heritage, they think of things in the past. They think of just cultural practices that are long gone. They just think, for example, like Chinese New Year, Hari Raya, those sort of things. But the thing is, what we want to present for the festival is that heritage is something that's growing, heritage is something that's living, and that's how we look into recreating experiences. So each year the festival have different thematic focus, and that's how we keep people alive and excited, while at the same time work with current, existing, and different partners as well. Each year we have about over 100 programs. Actually, it's 180 programs this year, which is, I don't know how my team did it. Yeah, we had to tell the media over 100 because you can't keep changing the number and tell people 180. But anyway, so this year the theme we had was on living heritage, which is a term that we try to make sexier because the original term we use is actually intangible cultural heritage. So what exactly is living heritage? This includes things like practices, traditions, festivals, and different things that have been passed on through generations and are continue to be emulated today. And how we keep the festival fresh is through different themes. This year was living heritage. Last year we focused on built heritage. And the years before, we tried to look at the different milestones that Singapore has to try and see how we can present these stories in different ways. So through our festivals, we present different types of workshops, talks, and even cultural demonstrations. So this is actually a silat performances, and this is actually a popiah making workshop. Popiah is basically like a sort of a roll. I didn't really figure out what's the actual definition for it, but it's actually like kind of a roll where you have vegetables inside and all that. People think of it as a burrito, but what I was told is that it's super, super different because it's a type of skin that they use for the roll, because it's super thin and you really need a set of skill to be able to roll this together. And we were able to meet practitioners who have passed down this through like 3 different generations. And I think these are the stories that we hope to recreate and bring to people that, hey, heritage continues to be relevant in our everyday life. We also look into the practices of tea culture, because tea is just something that people take for granted. You just dip in a tea bag and then just drink, and then you call it, and you just enjoy the tea. But in Chinese tea culture, for example, there's a whole lot of different processes, there's a whole lot of different kind of tastes that you have from the different types of tea leaves, and we kind of want to bring that to the upfront. And I think this also was where we had for the first time an experience at Gardens by the Bay. It's called the Home Ground Experience, where we actually had over the weekends in May, we had a series of different performances, and this was great because it not only introduced Singapore culture to Singaporeans, but actually visitors who are visiting as well. Because for most people, when they go Gardens by the Bay, they think of like Crazy Rich Asian, where they actually film the wedding scene, right? I was like, okay, for this program, I want it to have that vibe, but I think a bit more family audience. So I think it's really trying, every year we try our best to look into seeing how practices can be presented in different ways. We look into working with partners. So some of these partners, they have never done programming before, and our job is to bring them to the forefront, to tell people that, hey, these businesses exist, and these businesses are actually quite cool if you think about that. The fact that they are so passionate, that they are so meticulous in the work they do, I think that's what we want to present to people. And through the Heritage Fest, we try to work with them to see, okay, this is how your practice can be more palatable to members of the public. And we help to sexify it up a bit more. We provide them publicity, because sometimes some of these people, they think that, hey, this is something I've been doing for so long, nobody actually cares about it. We want to tell them that, hey, people actually care. So most of the programs that we have, it was sold out very, very fast. Like within 2 hours, all the programs are sold out. So, and we use platforms like PTix, for example. Yeah, thanks, Nick, for supporting us. Not sponsored, but just sharing. But yeah, so this is really what the festival hopes to bring people together, make people feel proud of their own heritage. While at the same time, for me, people ask like, but heritage is, I don't want to say the wrong thing about heritage. What if I actually misappropriate it? What if I say the wrong things? What if it's inaccurate? For me, I think the first step that you can do is just by snapping a photo, upload it on your social. In a way, you are actually documenting heritage in a different way, and you're trying to amplify it in a different way. So when people think about heritage in Singapore, what exactly is that? at the organization that I'm at, Heritage Board or Heritage SG, it's really about our built heritage. It's about our intangible cultural heritage, our living practices, and how we are able to document it. It's all also about our different things, such as, so for Singapore, we actually have a few that UNESCO inscribed items. One is the Botanic Gardens, which is a UNESCO site, if you all didn't know. And then we also have 2 inscribed by UNESCO, which is 1 hawker center. So just by going to a hawker center later for lunch, you are actually keeping heritage alive. And I want to tell people that it's really very easy to be part of the heritage scene. Just buying a char kway teow or just buying I don't know, tau wei. You're actually doing your part, so be proud of yourself, okay? You're helping me, helping yourself also. And at the same time, kabaya, which is a costume, which is not costume, a traditional garment that people wear. So that itself was also recently inscribed. And through this, we also want to tell people that, hey, it's really these everyday practices that we cannot take for granted. And you all have a part to play in upholding that. So through the festival, we look into recreating experiences. So the next is rejuvenating communities. Like what I mentioned, our team, we look into placemaking for the Bras Basah Bugis precinct, which is the Arts and Heritage District. So different organizations manage different precincts, like STB, for example, they manage Chinatown, Kampong Lamville, India, while we manage the Arts and Heritage District. Why? Because most of our museums are there, like the National Museum, Peranakan Museum, Children's Museum, and so on. So how do we rejuvenate communities? So this is actually, very pixelated, but this is actually the area that we look at for the Bras Basah Bugis precinct. And one thing that's really very interesting about the precinct that people tend to take for granted is that it's really right smack in the heart of the city. And there's a lot of different things there, museums, arts institutions. We have the Stanford Arts Center, we have National Design Center, schools like LaSalle, UAS, NAFA, etc., and a lot of religious sites and monuments. And for us, I think it's really important to work with the community there. So this is actually a part of a program we did for the Singapore Night Festival, which I'll share in the next few slides. But I think this is an important showcase of working with community. Usually for the festival, our audiences that we get is from 16 to 24. But for this program, which is actually a Sin Yao performance, which is a traditional Singapore Chinese music, we actually work closely with the Bras Basah Complex Merchants Association. And after this program, we realized the audience shifted to 60 and above, because they're actually really the elderly who actually enjoy Sin Yao performance. And this is actually the first time we actually had this program collaborating with the Merchants Association, allowing and providing them the platform to present programs. And we were quite surprised by the turnout, because we were like, why would someone who's slightly older and might not be interested in arts and heritage attend the program? So this is something that we hope to continue, really working the community within the precinct to present programs that they're comfortable with, and at the same time try to reach out to new audiences. So for us, I think it's very heartwarming looking at these photos. I know you can't really see the faces, but yeah, they're all 60 and above. It's really very heartwarming to see people participate in the festival in different ways, and that really makes us rethink that, hey, the festival should always be about the people. And if we ourselves are not able to reach out to the communities, let's leverage on the partners that we have to see how they can reach out to the community. And it's really very important to work with communities and collaboration. So this is actually part of our appreciation dinner for the Singapore Night Festival. For us, really, it's very hard to activate a whole precinct just by ourselves. Then it looks very top-down, and people don't really like top-down. They like to see people coming together, providing, given the opportunities for us to provide a platform for them. And I think this itself, just a simple appreciation dinner, is great, because it allows people in the precinct who might just be living right beside each other, or just having a shop or business right beside each other, actually come together and chat with each other. It's something like this Creative Morning, where you all get to meet people from different backgrounds, or even you might even meet your neighbors who might stay near you. In Hougang, for example, I realized 3 people here stay in the same neighborhood. Yeah. So it's like, maybe I might meet my neighbor here. Anyone stay in the middle? No. Okay, no, maybe not. So I think it's really great, because at the same time, what we want for our festivals is also for them to co-create programs together on their own. What we do is really providing a platform. So for example, some partners might have venues but then they just don't know what program to do. So we link them up like, hey, this person is actually looking for a venue. Why not they do programs at your site? And like, oh, okay, that sounds great. For example, like shopping malls, their main core business is actually really to have tenants and also to bring visitorship to the malls. But they are really interested in night festivals. So how can we do that? We tell them like, hey, actually there's this artist I can introduce you. You can put an artwork here, or hey, there's a practitioner who's looking for a space to do programs. So I think it's really, this sort of collaboration is very, very important to us to rejuvenate the precinct. It shouldn't be just the work of us, but the community together. So I think we also usually have kind of a BBB block party at the start of the year, where we let the precinct partners actually come together and tell us what exactly do you want to see in the precinct. Yes, we are related to the government, so we have certain mandates that we need to fulfill. But at the same time, we also want to hear from the people themselves. What's the support that they would like to hear from us? And through that, I think it has been quite successful because every few years, they're always looking forward to participate in different ways, be it for National Day activation or for the Singapore Night Festival to present the programs because they see value in the festival in bringing the precinct alive. So the last R word that I have is actually to reimagine spaces, and that's where the Singapore Night Festival comes to play. So for the Bras Basah Bugis precinct, even though there's a lot of things, but most people come to the precinct just to work in the day because there's a lot of office buildings there. They go there to just go to school and they just go home after that. But what we want to tell people that, hey, actually you can look into seeing how this precinct can be reimagined in a different way. That this precinct is actually quite vibrant at night as well. And it's starting to be so, especially with new types of businesses coming in and different communities together. So the Singapore Night Festival is actually the largest nocturnal experience we have in Singapore. And just for your context, there's actually 3 different night festivals in Singapore actually. But ours is the OG. Not kidding, it's actually true. So the first festival actually is Light Tonight, which is done by National Gallery. So that's part of the Singapore Art Week. And that is actually also a placemaking initiative, but for the Civic District. So Civic District includes City Hall, Raffles Place, that area. And then right now what's happening is actually iLight. I think they just had the launch yesterday. So that's at Marina Bay. And that's actually led by the Urban Redevelopment Authority. And for that, the focus is on sustainability. So yeah, do check it out. We are all friends, so as in no harm. Yeah, so for us, the Singapore Night Festival is actually held in the Bras Basah Bugis precinct. So the focus is still on heritage because people will be asking, why are you a heritage organization doing night festival? So ours is more rooted in heritage and telling about the stories of the precinct and looking into weaving in Singapore's history. So for us, I think, yeah, we brand ourselves as the largest nocturnal experience, and it's usually over a period of 9 nights, but last year we extended to 16 nights. So this year you can expect another 16 nights of experiences within the precinct. So for this night festival, it's really trying to reimagine these spaces in a different way. The pathway that you always walk in the day, that you take for granted, how can it be transformed? And this is actually, we call it a sleeper hit because this is actually a walkway from City Hall all the way to SMU. In the day, it's just a typical walkway, and over the weekends, actually, there's a lot of foreign workers who just sit there and picnic. But then we realized that, hey, actually, this can be a potential artwork. So what we did was we synced it with some music, and then we turned it into kind of a rainbow pathway of lights. And this seemed to be one of the more popular artworks, and this is a bit low-tech because it's just lights and music. So we're like, oh, okay, people actually like this, so like maybe we shouldn't try so hard next time. I think it's also about trying to see how we can try to reach out into different people, because some might prefer an in-depth experience. Some are just okay with lights because it just makes them happy, and there's nothing wrong with that. So we realized that, hey, actually this kind of things also work, so we might have more of this, along with other more in-depth works, of course, to try to reach out to different audience. This is actually at the National Design Centre. It's an interesting collaboration because we actually have it with Aesop, which is scented brand. Yeah, formerly based in Australia, I think, so actually, they were very happy to collaborate with us. They actually approached us like, hey, can we do an artwork together? Of course, we can be aligned to the theme. And it's really interesting because when you go to the National Design Center on a normal day basis, it's really quite sparse. Usually, you'll just have exhibitions by students and all that, but then we kind of recreated the whole space through this. So this is actually interesting because they are trying to mimic a sort of a forest. It's a very zen forest experience. It's very cool, calming, and each of these trunks actually have different scents by Aesop. So that's why you see people looking through and trying to smell the scent. But the thing is, this is within the first few nights, but over the next few nights, it was chaotic because it was sweaty, chaotic, because a lot of people started queuing this, keep seeing it all over Instagram, and they want to be part of it. So our forest was not so calm and peaceful as we wanted to, but it's okay, we got the numbers. And it is, so we were like, oh no, do we like stop? Do we like, just close it at 10 and say it's not functioning or whatsoever? But we tried to have more manpower and all that, and they're all very supportive. So it's really this kind of thing that allows you that, hey, this is where I saw an exhibition last month, but now this space is transformed totally differently. And the rest of the other spaces that we activate, this is actually inside a room, just a very small room at the Stanford Arts Center, where we had a glow-in-the-dark mural, and this was also a very, very long queue as well. And I guess people love queuing. When they see a queue, they just join. Maybe it's just the queue for the toilet, but it's okay. Just join first, and then you'll figure out later. And this is actually Fort Canning Park, which is actually a pathway that kind of links from National Museum down to Armenian Street. So we activate that space, and this was actually a program by the Children's Museum. It's actually a theatre production, and this is actually right outside Funan. So it's really different spaces that we try to activate to really make people reimagine. And for me, do I still have a bit more time? Or okay. So before that, no. So I think in general, I can't remember what are the 3 R's with. I should test you all, right? Okay. So I think for me, the topic of revival is really encapsulated through these three R's: recreating experiences, reimagining spaces, and also rejuvenating communities. Because I think the revival is really about, I guess, a whole new burst of energy, a whole new burst of creativity, and I guess that's why this event is also Creative Mornings, right? Really trying to see how can we work with constraints that we have to make things happen. So all those are beautiful photos, but behind the scene, there's actually challenges that we face as well. It's like, some people might just offer us a space, but then we're like, oh, technical errors, technical difficulties, like activating certain lighting, for example. Like, oh, we thought you'll give it to us, but actually no, we have to come to it and prepare it on our own. And there might other sorts of things. So I think it's really trying to navigate through some of these things and try to think creatively of how to solve problems. And just now somebody was asking me, how long have I been with the organization? So I've been with the organization for over 10 years. Same organization, first job, which for most people is like very shocking because like, oh, you really like your organization, huh? I like my job because it's fun. It allows me to meet different people, share what I love, which is bringing communities. It allows me to travel also. Osaka yesterday, yes, I checked out the World Expo, so very fun. Do check out if you have bought tickets. And it kind of gives me that sort of energy to also be creative and think of how I want to reinterpret heritage in different ways, whether it's through the festivals or whether it's through the placemaking initiatives, looking at new murals, furnitures along Armenian Street, for example. Those are some of the things that we are looking at, and I think that's what keeps the job fun for me. And I think for me, I think there's also tips of how we can revive ourselves or revive the initiatives that we do. Firstly, is really having an open mind. I think the fact that we are all in this room together, everyone from different backgrounds, is really trying to hear your experiences, and potentially there might be opportunities for us to also work together. It's really trying to hear the ideas from other people. And try to see like, hey, actually that's a very good idea. Maybe I can consider that for the night festival. And that's what I got, even through chatting with students, even through chatting with random people. Secondly, it's really trying to look into co-creation with communities, like what I mentioned. Working alone can be very tiring. It's really about people who can help you, whether space, whether in terms of ideas, whether it's in terms of coming together to build something bigger. It's really about escalating and amplifying the experience, which is the next point. For me, it's really about, sometimes you may be doing a good program, you may be doing a good initiative, but marketing is also very, very important. And that's something that I learned from the stakeholders from the Heritage Fest, traditional business, over 50 years old. For them, what they need is just a marketing push, and they're not very good at that. That's when we come on board. And that's when all of us can come on board, just by supporting them in different ways. And it's really through amplifying and multiplying, and that's when we get community to rally together to appreciate the country. And I don't know, I just put flame because revival, right? Because for me, it's really that little flame burning to keep me alive. And I guess, is this burning an eternal flame? Yeah, so I think for me, it's really those 3 R's that I mentioned earlier, which I shall not go back to the slide. But and also, these are, I feel, the tips that I have in terms of looking into how we can revive ourselves, revive communities, and also, look into reviving our creative mind this morning. So with that, that's all I have for today. We can chat more later. Thank you.